Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the SevereMMA YouTube page. I'm Spencer Kyte, and I am very excited to be joined by Cameron Saaiman ahead of his UFC 285 return against Mana Martinez. 22-year-old bantamweight prospect, 1-0 in the UFC, 7-0 overall. Thank you for doing this, man. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very well. We are here in Vegas, and I'm very looking forward to the fights. We are 1 week out, and I can't wait.
Yeah, came over early, made the right decision, get the jet lag out of the way, get a full week to acclimate yourself and your team. That feels like a good place to start. Second consecutive fight alongside your teammate, Dricus Du Plessis, not Du Plessis, though you guys enjoy that. What's it like? What's it mean for you? How valuable is it to not only train with someone of Dricus's caliber, but to get to compete alongside of him here, these first two UFC appearances, to kind of have Big Brother there to walk you through and shepherd you through this experience?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. When he made his debut on Fight Island, I was his cornerman. I was his punching bag for that week, and it wasn't supposed to be me. I was just the only guy that had a valid passport, so it's my story aligned for myself quite comfortably there until I landed in Abu Dhabi and just absolutely got my ass kicked for a week straight. So it's just amazing, just getting to experience the journey with him is so much fun. He has so much knowledge of not only the sport but everything that's revolves around that. So it's really fun to almost not tag along but join each other on this journey. And we're also good friends, so it's we are staying in an Airbnb at this stage. We'll be moving to the Athletes Hotel tomorrow, and the rest of our team is not here yet because we had a training partner that's competed in UAE Warriors, so they will be landing in 2 days time. But just us being here, getting to do our peak sessions together has been so much fun, and we're just having a great time.
Kind of unfair, a middleweight picking on a bantamweight, but it
Yeah.
seems like it's working. It's working for both of you. He's undefeated in the UFC. You are thus far undefeated in the UFC. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of that debut in December, I really appreciated the performance. I also certainly appreciated the performance on the Contender Series. One of the things that stuck out from both of those fights for me is your poise in there. So you get your debut, you get a change of opponent relatively late. Stephen Kozlow comes in and he's tough kid, undefeated kid as well. You lose a point in the middle of the fight. All these things that could add up to give you stress, anxiety, maybe a little too much energy. And you just come out poised as can be and say, okay, well, I guess I got to finish this fight in the third. And much like your Contender Series fight, you go out and finish the fight in the third. Where does that poise come from at 22 years old? I'm 44. I'm literally twice your age and don't have even a modicum of that poise. So where's it come from?
Yeah, I must say, and that's a great question. I think I must say, I always say I won't be here without my team. And when it comes to having big moments like that and being able to perform under pressure, we got to do that not only on the Contender Series but also in my debut. But we do that every single day in training. My head coach, Coach Mornay Visser, is absolutely amazing at applying a very high load of pressure in training, and you have to be able to perform under that high load of pressure every single time. So I think it's just also my mentality. I hate losing. I don't want to look back and be disappointed on my performance. So I really look to combine not only our training but also that mentality of I can beat these guys. I'm here to finish these guys as well. So I know that for a fact, and I just look to prove that every single time. I've gone to decision once in my professional career, and that absolutely sucked. But again, in that fight, also a lot of adversity. So, I'll take the win. But it's always been back to training. You know, we get to perform for at most 15 minutes, 25 minutes if you're fighting for a title, but there are countless of hours that go into preparation for that specific fight. So it's always just falling back to the training habits, and if you do that quite well, then you should be fine.
You said you hate to lose there. Undefeated as an amateur, undefeated as a professional.
Yeah.
What do you lose at? What are the things you are not good at that you catch some L's at? Because I'm guessing, like, so far as a fighter, we're pretty solid on the win column.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I've lost in kickboxing before when I was a kid. You know, that absolutely sucked. I remember my first kickboxing tournament. I was training for 3 weeks, and they said, "Listen, go do it for fun." And I was like, "This is not fun. This is serious." You know, I was 12 years old. I was just like, and then I think I took bronze, so I fell out of the tournament in the second round. Took bronze. I actually still have that bronze medal at home. And I keep that. That's my fuel. I hate that. I hate that bronze medal. So, but to be honest, you know, like most fans only see us perform, you know, and we lose quite a lot. I lose a lot in training. I have absolute savages at Team CIT, so I get my ass kicked quite regularly. That's also what I think keeps us very focused on improving every single time in camp. So, and that's, you know,
well, you're getting stuck in there with a UFC middleweight. I mean, it's as we said, it's unfair. Yeah. Of course, you're going to lose sometimes.
100%. And also, we have so many savages back in South Africa. We are. I think it's going to take some time just to showcase that, and I think Dricus and I are doing a very good job at, you know, paving the way for the rest of the guys. But we have some kick-ass guys back in South Africa, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some of them on the international stage as well. You know, Dricus Du Plessis, he just fought at UAE Warriors, got a 3rd round finish as well, and just an absolute savage. So we train with a lot of savages. I lose quite a lot, which is frustrating, but we look to always come back to the next training session better, and just with a bigger picture at mind, you know, just going here. I know we are a small team here in Vegas, but a massive team and fans, followers, family back home in South Africa is looking for the win as well come fight night.
We've seen a few different fighters, yourself and Dricus, obviously, from EFC come through to the UFC, graduate to this level in the past. JP Bays as well, Ruin Potts at times, Dolce Mbula. What's it like to be a part of this first wave, really, of South African athletes making it to this stage, competing at this stage, and doing it at such a young age?
It's absolutely amazing. You know, it's very hard to create some history for yourself. We were not the first athletes to come to the UFC. They were South Africans that did that before us. But as we keep on performing, we get the chance to create some history for ourselves. I was, for about 10 days, the youngest signed UFC athlete. That sucked as well, just getting that taken away from me. But you know, just being the first guy to do that at that age was an achievement. I didn't focus too much on that. I actually didn't know until they announced it that night. So it was just it was stuff like that also is a great motivation. You know, Dricus is the first South African to be ranked in the top 10, and he'll be the first South African to be ranked in the top 5, and he'll be the first South African UFC champion. So he's going to be creating some high standards, which I am going to have to try and chase, but we'll keep on creating our own history and our own divisions, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Overtaken as the youngest by Raul Rojas, a fellow bantamweight. Are we setting the stage for a season 6 Dana White's Contender Series young bantamweight prospect showdown in the future?
100%. I think that's a fight that is going to happen. I don't think it will happen now. To be honest, it will not be a good fight for the company to try and take 2 of their biggest prospects and have them face each other. But I know that fight will happen in the future, and I know I will walk away the winner.
Somewhere down the line, we will look forward to it. And folks, you can bookmark this interview as when those seeds were planted and sown first.
100%.
We'll get back to it. We'll talk in 3-4 years time when you guys are battling for a place in the top 10.
I'll send this to Sean Shelby. He needs to hear this.
Perfect. Hi, Sean. You get Mana Martinez on the weekend at UFC 285. What did you know about him when the name came across to you as this is the guy you're going to face? What have you seen from him as you've prepped for this fight on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the first thing that popped to mind was he faced someone that I was supposed to face, and Ronnie Lawrence. So that was the first thing that really popped to my mind. I obviously studied a lot of Ronnie Lawrence's fights as well. So getting the chance to go back and watch his fights, he's a great stand-up fighter. I think he's very, very good on the feet. I do not think his wrestling game, is much of a threat. I think he has decent grappling as well. But I would like to have a good stand-up fight. I said that in the Contender Series as well. We knew Joshua Kim was a good stand-up fighter. Let's keep it standing. We can do that. And hopefully Uncle Dana will bless us with another performance bonus after a killer fight. Because, being a full-time athlete is quite expensive. So I really look forward to having a great performance. I think Mana Martinez is the perfect opponent for me at this stage. We are slowly but surely climbing the ranks, and with an impressive finish next weekend, I think we'll get a top 40, maybe top 30 opponent next, and I look forward to having that as my next challenge.
So 12-year-old Cameron was very focused on kickboxing, and this isn't for play, this is for serious. Yeah. When did all of this start taking root for you? When did the initial idea of, I think I want to do combat sports and I think I want to do it professionally, sink in for you?
Quite late, to be honest. I think it was always a thing of like, I need to try and prove not only to myself, but also to my parents, my family, stuff like that, that this is a viable option. I do this full time. This is my full-time job. So, and coming from South Africa, where I would say the sport is quite behind when it comes to international standard, it's very hard to sell that to the people that love you and care for you. So it was, I won our SA champs, our nationals, basically for K1 kickboxing in 2017. And then after that, I was like, okay, we might be able to do this. And as an amateur MMA athlete, won an amateur title as a junior, which they divided at that stage, and then as a senior again. And I think after winning that senior title, I was like, okay, we might be able to do this.
I think we can do this.
Yeah, it was still up in the air. And when I was in matric, and when I needed to decide if I was going to go study, I ultimately made the decision not to do that and really, go to the University of Team CIT. And it's the best decision I've ever made, and I've never looked back as well.
And what has the family's reactions and sort of feelings been, especially over this last year of, not even a year really, of Contender Series into the UFC? Okay, now we've got a UFC win. Now we're progressing. How have they been dealing with the stress of watching you compete at this level, but also seeing you have this success?
Yeah, I think my mom spends a lot of time praying for me. So I think her nerves are up, but they've been so supportive. I'm very fortunate to have a great structure of family and friends and fans in South Africa. Like I've said it before as well, South African fans are the best in the world. So having them back me is absolutely amazing. And I would love it if in the future my family can watch me compete as well, because that's also something that in South Africa I was very I didn't like them watching me, because I thought that applied a lot of pressure, especially as an amateur. But now I'm at a level where and I think I'm mentally at a level where I enjoy fighting so much, so I want them to be part of the journey as well.
What has changed for you back home in South Africa since you've gotten the UFC contract and gotten to win? Are there big differences, little differences? I imagine there are people, a few more people that recognize you and go, hey, aren't you? But anything else, or is it just business as usual?
Really, to be honest, business as usual. You know, we get noticed a lot more in public, which is also quite a weird thing for me still, because I'm just like, yeah, it's fighting. I hope you enjoyed the fight. So, other than that, nothing has changed. You know, I wake up, I go to training. I enjoy training a lot. I have a second family at Team CIT, whose company I enjoy, and we get to do what we love every single day. And I'm quite not a private person, but I like going home and just chilling and being by myself. I have a very small group of friends as well, so staying in touch with them is super important. But that nothing has really changed.
What are the wind down activities? What are the, when I'm not at the gym, I'm home being by myself, but what are we doing? Are you a gamer? Are you reading? Are you just meditating and thinking about fighting all the time? What are you doing? You're a 22-year-old kid. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
I think a lot of people are gonna actually just hate that I'm saying this, but I wanna, in a giveaway, I won a PlayStation 5. And I was like super excited because now I'm like, okay, we're gonna be gaming with the boys. But I'm just so busy as well. So I sold my PlayStation to buy an air bike. So I'm building a small home gym as well. So if I'm done with training in the mornings and I feel like I want to do something else in the evening, I can do that at home without going to the gym. So I sold that PlayStation quite quickly. But you know, I enjoy playing a few rounds of golf with some friends. I enjoy that a lot. Hiking, I'm a massive fan of hiking. I like going to the movies. I don't really watch a lot of TV at home. I like watching YouTube as well, but yeah, that's about it.
Are you a
Oh,
good girl?
guilty pleasure. I love going to restaurants. I get so fat after fights because I have about 3 breakfasts after fights, and yeah, I get the calories in.
All right. So are there plans then for after this win on Saturday against Mana Martinez for where you're going to go to have the team victory meal that your manager, Danny Rubenstein, can foot the bill for?
100%. I think so. What I have had some of the fast food here, which is mind blowing. It's so good. So there's a few places I haven't had, like Chick-fil-A, White Castle. There's a few other. I have a list here somewhere. I've been writing
Nice.
it down the whole week. So, and then there's a TikToker, Keith Lee.
Yep.
He reviews like restaurants here in Vegas. So I'm gonna be scrolling through that man's page come fight week, and I'm gonna be creating a list of places we'll visit. We're only here for 2 days, but
Right.
we'll be standing in lines most of the time, just waiting for food.
I gotcha. I love that Keith Lee, and it's a credit to his reviews, is now 100% known as Keith Lee as a food reviewer. He's also
Yeah,
a mixed martial artist and the younger brother of UFC veteran and former interim title challenger Kevin Lee.
yeah,
But he's a hell of a food reviewer as well. He's doing very good things with his TikTok.
yeah. That's amazing. It's just like, you know, it's being so diverse in your brand and being recognized for what you do now, and also just like the stories they have built around, you know, saving families, saving jobs
Yeah.
here in Vegas. It's absolutely amazing. So I'll be supporting a lot of those families next week.
There you go. So we'll get to the fight itself, and I'll let you get out of here on this. You said you would like a stand-up fight. You would like to get in there and bang it out with Mana Martinez. How do you see this fight playing out if everything goes sort of the way you would like it to?
Yeah,
You don't
I
like
think
going to decisions, so I assume it's we get in there, we bang it out, he
yeah,
falls down, I get my hand raised.
100%. That's I don't like going to decision. We've seen some rocky decisions lately as well. So we want to try and avoid that. But honestly, I do think I have enough cardio to, you know, go 3 rounds if it has to be that. He is a very tough opponent as well. So it's just about getting in there we have seen mannerisms, we've seen stuff that he does quite regularly in his fights that we can expose him on, and I think we can get the finish within 2 rounds, and whether that's KO or TKO, we'll get it done.
Before I let you get out of here, tell people how they can follow you, how they can pay attention to everything that's going on for Fight Week, and then afterwards, how they can follow you standing in line and enjoying all of the spoils of victory.
Yeah, so you guys can go check out Cameron Saaiman on everything. Saaiman is my surname. It's quite a weird surname as well. And the MSP show on YouTube and on all podcast platforms. I do a podcast with one of my best friends from school. He's also an amateur at Team CIT, and he's an absolute he's a very interesting guy. Some people still think he has some level of autism, but I think he's just super creative. So he's fun to watch on the podcast as well, and I think you guys will enjoy it a lot. So Cameron MSP Saaiman on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Yeah,
check him out on the social media platforms. Check him out next week at UFC 285 against Mana Martinez. Cameron, thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. All the best, and can't wait to see you out there.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. I think we're gonna deliver a banger of a fight, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to continuing this as we go forward and eventually get that Raul Rojas fight that we've now planted the seeds for. Heard it here first, Sean Shelby.
Yeah.
This is where it started. Yeah. Thank you, man. Take care of yourself.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Cheers.
All right.